thank you so much for everyone for coming along to today's webinar titled You're Hired. And as you can see, it's all about helping you find jobs in September. So for a bit of context on that, the kind of nationwide resignation day is approaching at the end of May. And so lots of schools are thinking about staffing for next year, as I'm sure lots of you in attendance are as well. So it's really good that you've come along. Thank you so much. And hopefully today we can share some really useful insights and some practical things you can do, which will help you find a long-term job in September. Cool. So to start off, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Peter, and I am a teacher success team lead here at Zen Educate. And so my team, we really work on speaking to you guys as you are onboarding onto our online platform, understanding exactly the kind of work that you're looking for, and then working with our account management team who work with the schools to try and marry up that with what our schools are looking for. So yeah, I'm sure lots of you are already speaking to many of the great people on the teacher success team. As you can see as well, I'm a former teacher, and I have kind of done daily day-to-day supply work, as well as working for 3 years in a secondary school in London, teaching RE. So that's enough about me. And then on to our fantastic panelists today. We have Chris Kane and Kenza Chowdhury, who are both brilliant teachers on our platform and currently working through schools through Zen Educate. So thank you so much, both of you, for joining. Awesome. So to start off with, what I think would be really good is to open this into a conversation. Firstly, with Kenza, it would be brilliant if you could tell us a bit about like your background and how you kind of came to getting your long-term job. It'd be really useful to hear.
So I'm Kenza. I'm from Manchester. I first did an undergrad in education studies. I was unsure if I wanted to be a teacher, but I definitely knew I wanted to do something within education and wanted to definitely work with children. Following through to my final year of my undergrad, if I'm honest, I was still kind of unsure if I wanted to again go into teaching. So then I ended up doing my master's in childhood and youth studies, which I absolutely loved. And because my master's had so much independent work and I was less time in uni, I took that time and volunteered in local schools, in local primary schools, and I found and fell in love with teaching and helping out in schools. Then I followed through to my PGCE. However, that was during COVID, not the best. We were supposed to have 2 present in-person placements. However, I only got 1 for a longer amount of time in a mixed year one and 2 class. After I graduated, I kind of found out that, do you know what? I don't believe I have enough experience to go ahead and apply for a full-time job. Obviously 5 years in uni is a very long time. And I just thought I need a bit of a break. I need a bit more experience. What's the best thing I can do? So I found Zen. I applied to Zen to do some supply work to kind of see what schools I like, what years I like to work in, and just kind of dabble in that. So the first long-term role that I got was as a teaching assistant in a school local to myself. And I was in a year 4 and 6 class. Now, I've never been in Key Stage 2. It was very daunting for me at first. However, I learned so much. I could pick up things from different teachers. I was able to speak to different members of staff. And it was just really, really good to get to know the children. Like I said, get more experience within Key Stage 2. And then that finished in the December holidays. Then in January, I went into teaching supply. I was on daily supply for 4 days out of the week, and 1 day to myself. With that, I got roles on every day of my daily supply, and I absolutely loved it. Going to different schools, again, learning what I do like, what I don't like, what years I prefer, what I don't. And again, it was just so good learning from different members of like staff in different schools and understanding what they like and what they don't like and picking up different things. And then fast forward to now, the school that I've been at a few times since January, I am currently doing a 4-day long-term role to the end of the year. So awesome. Monday, Tuesday, I do mentoring, which Zen offers when you work like one-to-one with different children, and kind of tutor them through one-to-one support. Which I'm absolutely loving, and that's in like different years. which is going really, really great because again, I'm getting an SEN experience. I am in different years, which I'm really enjoying. Then I'm off on Wednesdays, and then Thursday, Friday, I am covering PPA within school, wherever they need me. So I'm really enjoying it. It's going really well, and Zen have been really supportive throughout it, which I really appreciate.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, it sounds really, really cool. And your whole journey from kind of volunteering in school and then like obviously day-to-day supply has given you those varied experiences of working with different key stages and also in different environments, which is great. So how did you end up getting your long-term role? Where did that come from?
So as I previously said, the school that I'm at currently, from January, I have been in and out of that school a few times. So before I officially got my long-term role, I had been in the school previously. And then a member of Zen rang me and said, school have got long-term roles available, like part-time ones, but ended up being long-term. And they said they really enjoyed the fact that they've seen you, they've seen how you teach, they've seen how you work, etc. Would you like to be considered for it? And then here I am now in there. So it was through the daily supply that I'm able to get this long-term role.
Amazing. And I think that's one of the key takeaways from today, right? Is that actually day-to-day supply is a great way of getting a long-term role. You show your work to the school that you're working in, and you clearly did an amazing job because they were like, we'd love to have you long-term. And so that's a great example of that. Thanks. And just one final question. How has your kind of how has your life changed, I suppose, since taking that long-term job?
I think it's really opened my eyes to schools in general, especially because I'm doing like the tutoring / mentoring on Monday and Tuesdays. It's that one-to-one that I'm having with the children and how much that really benefits them. Because I do PPA on Thursday and Fridays, so I'm in different years then. But it's the difference between them two slots. It's just proving the fact that children do need that one-to-one support, and children do need that extra support, which also obviously isn't always the case within schools, unfortunately. So that doesn't always happen, but it's definitely changed my perspective and kind of broadened my mind that all children learn in different ways and different things need to happen in school. And it's just nice to be able to work in different year groups and kind of get a feel for that.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Kenza, for sharing your story. It's awesome to hear. And best of luck as you continue that role until the end of the year.
Thank you.
Thanks. Awesome. So now we're going to hear from Chris as well. Chris, if you could give us a bit of your background and then also how you found your long-term job, that would also be great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine with me. So I'm Christopher, either way, don't really mind. So my background, I've worked in early years, so sort of private EYFS settings for about 10 years since leaving school. And then I've gone up to being an assistant manager, and then I got to the point where I felt that I'd done everything that I could do in that sector and I wanted a new challenge, which then led me down the route of teaching. So I did the 3-year undergraduate degree, which again, I really enjoyed. And I did get to the point where after I'd finished my studies, similar to Kenza, I was a bit my confidence wasn't quite there of, can I actually do this? So I think quite foolishly, I did go back into a nursery position first, which was a previous employer. And then I think I did that for about 4 months. And then I did get to that point where I thought, I've done all this training, all these extra things that I've done, and why am I going back to what I was doing before? So then at the end of October, I signed off from nursery, and it was quite the lucky coincidence. I'd already signed up with Zen and I'd not heard much from them at that point. And it just so happened that as soon as I changed my availability on the app, then I got a phone call of, right, so would you like some work? And I think I started as soon as after the half term, I started and I didn't stop. So I was doing 5 days a week and every day I was booked. I think, again, where I am now, I'd only done about 4 or 5 different schools at this point and had got some really good feedback from them. The school that I was in, that I'm currently in, I was booked well in advance for a day on a Friday to go into a year 1 classroom. I was in the school for about half a day, and then the head teacher comes to me and offers me, so she basically turned around and said, I've seen what you like in the classroom. How do you fancy year 5 next week? Again, very similar. My degree was focused in EYFS and Key Stage 1, so I had never gone above a year 2 classroom. So naturally, I was quite, yes, it was definitely going to be a challenge, that one, but I thought, let's do it. I then did 3 weeks in year 5, and then the teacher returned, but then the school were basically like, we're not going to let you go that easily. We are going to keep hold of you. So then I was doing things like PPA cover, just staff cover, moving around school, supporting where needed. So basically, I didn't then go to another school. And again, just the opportunity then came up where a teacher was moving on to a new position, just that worked out well for them. And I was then offered to sort of take their place to kind of finish out the rest of the academic year for them. So the school is going through a bit of a restructure at the moment anyway, which is the reason why at the moment in September, I've not got a permanent role. However, the school, being in this school for so long, the school is already kind of going, we're talking to other schools to make sure that they know about you, to see if we can get you sorted for September, which is obviously something that I'm definitely not going to knock at all. But yeah, so it was quite a fast whirlwind journey, but here I am 6 months later, I'm still in the same school.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Chris. Like Kenza, like that's such a relevant story here. I think something you said that I just want to pick up on is as soon as you updated your preferences, someone from the team got in touch. That is amazing, because we do have a team here who monitor that. And so anyone attending, if your preferences change, say, actually, you know what, now I can do daily supply. If you say yes, and we're going to show you how to do that later on. If you do update your preferences, there'll be a member of the team who's notified and then can talk to you about the work that you want. So it's great to hear that that was your experience. And yeah, I think as well, like, you know, you said that you were teaching for a day of supply, and then the head teacher sort of saw what you were like and then said, actually, can you do year 5? And obviously on your CV, there wasn't necessarily that experience. I think that's a great example that illustrates, I think school leaders, it's key that they know what you're like as a teacher and how you kind of manage your classroom, right? And so going in for supply work is the best chance for you to show exactly how you manage your classroom and how you are as a teacher, and how you ensure like it's a good learning environment and all of that stuff. And that's obviously, that had a big impact on the school leaders at the school you're currently at. Such a big impact that you're still there, which is brilliant. Chris, I'd love to know, like, what would your kind of advice be to a teacher who maybe is thinking, oh, I'm not sure about supply work?
I'll be honest, I've absolutely loved it. I think it gives you that freedom to make that choice in what you want to do. But I think, again, it's the freedom. I just enjoy being able to go into different schools. And again, it's one of those experiences where it's actually given me that opportunity to go and see what schools are out there. Although be it I had quite a few, well, not that many rather, because I was then quite focused into one school quite quickly. But I know, obviously, doing your training, you go into quite a few schools, but I don't think you see it in the same sort of light as what you would as in you're going in as that teacher. So I definitely give it a go, purely because if you've not got a permanent position, it might actually help you on your journey to finding one just by seeing what schools are out there, because every school is different. And every school has its own dynamic and its own setup and atmosphere. And it is just worth being able to go into them and have a look round and see what the school's like. If there's a position then that comes up, you might also then be quite lucky to, essentially, because you've got your face out there, you could be quite lucky in that that's being offered to you because you're just putting your face out there and they're seeing what you can do. Because I kind of, when I was doing daily supply, I treat daily supply as kind of an interview, purely because they want to see what you can do in that classroom. And that was essentially what I wanted to show them. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's so well put. It definitely is like an interview. Yeah, I think, that's like your example is exactly kind of what we see happen a lot. And just lastly, you know, it's just nice to hear, like, how is your kind of outlook on teaching? Obviously, you've had a journey from being an EYFS expert, room leader, manager, I think you just said as well.
Yeah.
You know, so how has your kind of outlook changed since you've had this long-term job?
Well, I remember starting my degree, and a lot of people say how similar it is. And I'll be honest, it is completely different. The dynamic, the setup, it is completely different. Even so, as well, obviously, as you move further through the school, it's also a completely different curriculum and the way that it's delivered. But it is more of a case of, at first, I mean, I know quite a few ECTs, if there are some ECTs here as well, you do get that imposter syndrome. And it's something that I have spoken to quite a few ECTs about recently in the last few months. It's something my colleague who teaches the other side of year 2, who has been teaching for 12 years, it's something that we have conversations about, and she has to then settle me back down as if to go, no, you're doing a great job, keep going, let's keep going. Because again, sometimes I still have that feeling of, should I be in this classroom? But I think it is just a case of, there is a lot of high expectation, but you've done all the training and all that knowledge, and it's just getting you going and getting the experience. And again, getting your face out there to keep it going.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, and I think like you say, supply is a great way to get you out there and build your confidence, because of potential. Like, you know, in an ideal world like yours, Chris, you go in, you do such a good job that the school are like, we want you for the long term. But actually, if that doesn't happen, you still will, you'll experience a variety of different school environments, which is amazing. You know, that equips you with lots of different tools and understands how different school environments work. So great. And thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, because you'll find as well, the right school will support your confidence. Because I have gone into schools where I've not felt that confident, whereas here, because it's such a supportive environment, my confidence has grown anyway. And again, you'll find it will help you in finding the right school that's going to do that for you as well.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you both. So we're now going to move on, and you know, it's really interesting, the conversations that we've just been having very much kind of relate to the data that we also see in terms of the long-term jobs at Zen Educate. So 45% of long-term jobs actually start with short-term work and short-term jobs. So that's a huge percentage. You know, almost half of the long-term jobs that we end up finding candidates for, we've got those through short-term work initially. And I think something to think about here is that internally, we always try and ask every candidate after their first day of work, hey, how was that? How was that today in that new school? And likewise, we'll also try and get feedback from schools. And schools will often say to us, oh my goodness, they were brilliant. They were so good that, you know, they're a really good fit for us, which is sometimes a bit of an intangible thing. What does that mean? But if they say that to us, and then we ask the candidate, and the candidate says, yeah, that was brilliant, then we're in a really fortunate position where we can kind of marry those two together. We can talk to the school. Do you have any long-term roles opening up soon? And that's where this dialogue can kind of come from. And that's where, you know, if you're in for one day of supply work, it can lead, and it does definitely lead to long-term opportunities. Okay, well, we have just a couple of minutes left now. So if you have any questions for myself or any of our panelists, we can maybe take a couple just before we end today. So please do raise your hand virtually if you have any questions, and yeah, and then we can ask you to share. Cool, I will just wait for another 30 seconds or so to give anyone an opportunity. Last chance, I'll just give 10 seconds left.
While we are waiting, just in case anyone has a question, one tip, and it's something I've spoken about with quite a few teachers in school, is one thing they do notice is a lot of supply don't tend to do the marking. And I know that that's one of the big things, is if you do the marking, you are instantly going to go in their good books.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Really good
for half an hour and do a quick bit of marking for them. They will really appreciate it, and I think that's going to put a smile on their face, and then let their head teacher know that, be like, he did the marking, can we have him back?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And connected to that, we do ask for So we kind of, at the end of a day of supply teaching, the school leader will be asked to kind of, if there was something particularly positive, give us some positive feedback, and then we'll always try and share that with you. So it's also something you can publish on your Zen Educate profile as well. So it's well worth doing that. And I think, yeah, like you were saying, Chris, a day of supply teaching can be seen as like a trial day that you're getting paid for. And so really put your best foot forward there. You know, be kind of a proactive and positive presence around the school, and that can really help you kind of get that long-term job. Great point. Cool.
Where possible as well.
Yeah.
I always have tried to familiarize myself a little bit with the school by reading the most recent Ofsted report and having a look at the website, just to try and get a bit of knowledge in there before you turn up.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And also on booking confirmations, you will have information on the school on your Zen Educate app as well. But I think that's a great tip. Thank you. Cool. So we are going to just have a look now, and I'm going to show you how you can actually update your preferences. So then you can notify us that you're available, and then we can get in touch about possible opportunities. So I'm just going to share my screen now. Okay, so it is saying I can't share my screen currently. Apologies, all right, fantastic. I'm going to share my screen now. So all you need to do, it's very, very simple. You should be able to see my screen. Can we see that? Yep, yeah. Fantastic. So what you need to do is go to your profile, and I'll go to the home page here. Now this is my profile. As I said, I'm a teacher. Go to the bottom left and you will see preferences. Click on preferences and you can click on work. This is where you update your work preferences. So based on the discussion we've had, I would definitely going to put summer term daily supply yes, because if I do that, I make a good impression. The school may well say, actually, we've got a long-term job in September for you. And I think the kind of key bit of advice I would give is opening up your preferences is definitely a good thing. You know, the kind of, you still have the autonomy and the power is very much in your hands. But if you open up your preferences to more work, you will obviously see more opportunities. Okay, so here we go. You just need to select that. Yes, it auto saves. How many days per week? I'm going to put 5 because that's kind of what I want. Once you've done that, it's saved and a member of the team will be notified and will be getting in touch with you, like what happened with Chris. Cool. I'm going to stop sharing now. So I think that is all we have time for today. So I just want to say a huge thank you to both Chris and Kenza for sharing your stories. It's really, really cool to hear that, you know, we've got that data, 45% of long-term jobs come from short-term work. What's really nice is to actually hear the kind of story behind that. And yeah, I just, you know, massively well done to both of you. It sounds like you're doing a great job and good luck going forwards. For all attendees as well, this session is obviously being recorded and you will receive a recording of it to your email. So what I recommend doing is looking out for that, and then you can kind of skip through to Kenza and Chris's stories, which I think are the best parts of this. And lastly, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. There's the support line, which you can find. Actually, I think we do have a final slide with the support line, which is 020 3964 2566. But also email us at support@zeneducate.com. And yeah, we would love to hear from you and help you find the long-term role in September that you're looking for. And also, of course, daily supply in the meantime. All right, thank you so much. I think that's everything we've got time for today. So I think we're going to leave it here. And big thanks to Chris and Kenza once more.
Thank you.
Thank you.